My beloved child, pause right here. Something is shifting in your world, and you can feel it, can't you? There's a quiet current beneath your ordinary days, a pull you can't explain, a sudden thought of someone who lingers longer than coincidence allows. This is not random. This is not imagination. This is alignment. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of a confession so powerful, it could redraw the map of your future. And you sense it. Why else would your heart quicken at their name? Why else would silence between you feel charged instead of empty? Something unspoken is building. Not chaos. Not confusion. Clarity. But here is the twist. The confession isn't only about love. It's about truth. A truth they have carried quietly. A truth that has grown heavier with time. And now, it is almost ready to be released. Stay with me for a moment longer. Because this is where most people look away. They doubt the signs. They call it overthinking. They distract themselves. And just like that, they miss the turning point that was designed for them. But you are still here. That divine pull you feel? It is not desperation. It is recognition. Soul recognizing soul. Energy preparing for revelation. Have you noticed the subtle changes? The deeper eye contact. The pauses before they speak. The way conversations almost drift toward something important, then stop. That hesitation is not rejection. It is courage gathering itself. Your soulmate has been wrestling with vulnerability, not because they are unsure of you, but because they understand the magnitude of what they are about to say. What if this moment changes your entire path? Take a breath, because the confession forming in their heart carries more than emotion. It carries decision, commitment, a willingness to step into something real. But here's the part no one tells you. The universe does not force confessions. It orchestrates readiness. And readiness requires two open hearts. Are you open? Or are you guarded from past disappointments? Are you truly prepared to receive what you have been asking for? This divine pull is not only drawing them closer, it is preparing you. There is a timeline unfolding, subtle, precise, invisible to the impatient eye. And right now, you are standing just before the reveal. You might notice dreams becoming vivid, memories resurfacing, random reminders of them appearing in your day. These are not accidents. They are signals, little sparks of alignment saying, pay attention. Something is about to be spoken. Wait, feel that? That gentle anticipation in your chest. It is the echo of their unspoken words. They are rehearsing it in their mind, imagining your reaction, wondering if you will understand the depth of what they feel, wondering if you will stay. Because the truth they are preparing to confess is not small. It may begin simply, I need to tell you something. But behind those words lives a revelation they've held back for far too long. And when it comes, it will not feel dramatic. It will feel right. Like a door unlocking. Like a missing note finally played in a melody you've both been humming for lifetimes. Do not ignore this divine pull. Do not silence your intuition just because it feels too good, too aligned, too destined. You are not ahead of yourself. You are ahead of the moment, and the moment is catching up. Before you step away, hold this knowing gently. Something extraordinary is approaching. Not loudly, not chaotically, but with certainty. And when your soulmate finally speaks, you will realize this pull was never confusion. It was preparation. Wait, before you move on, something just shifted. You remember that feeling we uncovered, the quiet pull, the almost spoken words, the door about to unlock. Hold that image again, because what you sensed wasn't just anticipation, it was preparation. Here's what most people never realize. When a soulmate is about to confess something life-altering, the energy changes before the words do. You may have noticed it. Subtle. Undeniable. Conversations feel layered now. Simple topics carry hidden meaning. Even silence feels like it's waiting for its cue. This moment may explain what you've been sensing. Your soulmate is standing between two worlds, the familiar comfort of keeping things unspoken, and the bold future that begins the second they tell you the truth. That space in between. It's electric. And here's the micro reveal. They already know. They already know what they feel. They've known for longer than you think. What's happening now isn't discovery, it's courage aligning with timing. In the next few seconds, everything will connect. Have you felt a sudden calm around them recently? Almost like the tension you once sensed has softened? That's not distance. That's decision forming. When someone resolves their inner conflict, their energy stabilizes. And you, being deeply connected, feel that stabilization as peace. But here's the twist. The confession forming in their heart is not only about love. It carries vulnerability, an admission, a truth about why they held back before, why they hesitated, why certain moments felt incomplete. This is the turning point. Tension builds, because truth demands bravery. Hope rises, because love is stronger than fear. Revelation approaches, because alignment cannot be delayed forever. Stay present with this unfolding. Your soulmate has been imagining the future, not in fragments, but in vision. They see you in it, clearly, consistently, not as a possibility, but as a choice. And that is powerful. You might notice signs accelerating now. Unexpected messages, meaningful coincidences, shared memories resurfacing. The universe doesn't rush, but it does synchronize. You'll understand at the end, because there is something else happening beneath the surface. As they prepare to speak, you are being prepared to receive. Old doubts are surfacing in you, not to block the confession, but to clear them out before it arrives. Isn't it interesting? Right when something beautiful is about to begin, your mind tries to revisit the past. Old disappointments, old endings, almost as if testing your readiness. But this time is different. This connection has matured in silence. It has strengthened in absence. It has deepened without announcement. And when the confession comes, it will not feel rushed. It will feel inevitable, like gravity finally acknowledged. If this message resonates, you know where to find the next one. Because there's a layer to this story that hasn't surfaced yet. A truth about timing that most people overlook. A reason why this confession had to wait until now. But there's one truth still missing, and before the next part, something must be revealed. You were meant to hear this next, because what's about to unfold explains everything. Remember the quiet certainty we spoke about, the door unlocking, the courage gathering, the timing aligning? That wasn't just about them. It was about you. Here's the revelation that changes the entire picture. Your soulmate's confession is not arriving simply because they are ready. It is arriving because you have evolved into the version of yourself who can sustain it. Pause with that. Months ago, maybe even weeks ago, the same words would have landed differently. Either too soon, too fragile, too uncertain. But now? Now your energy is steadier, your boundaries clearer, your self-worth less negotiable. And they feel that. Soul connections respond to growth. When one rises, the other senses it. When one heals, the other gains courage. This is why the pull intensified recently. Not randomly, rhythmically. In the next few moments, something will click. The confession they are preparing isn't just, "I have feelings for you." It's deeper. It's layered with accountability, with intention, with a forward vision. They don't want a moment. They want momentum. That's the difference. And here's something surprising. They may appear calm on the surface, composed, even casual, but internally, they are rehearsing vulnerability. They are choosing transparency over pride. That choice alone signals transformation. Can you feel how different this energy is from the past? Before, there may have been mixed signals, inconsistency, unfinished sentences, but now there is focus, a narrowing of attention, a quiet determination, because they've realized something profound. Losing the chance to speak would cost more than the risk of saying it. That realization changes everything. You might sense it in the way they look at you, longer, steadier, as if memorizing, as if measuring the right moment. Conversations may start circling closer to meaning, almost there, then pulling back, not because they're unsure, because they want the timing to be worthy of the truth. Stay with this unfolding. The universe doesn't orchestrate confessions casually. It aligns lessons, closes old chapters, clears emotional space. And look at your life right now. Hasn't something recently ended? Shifted? Quietly completed? That wasn't coincidence. It was preparation. What if this confession isn't just about love, but about alignment of life paths? Shared direction, shared growth, a future that feels expansive instead of limiting. Feel the difference. This is not about chasing, not about convincing, not about proving. It's about recognition. Two people seeing clearly at the same time. And here is the final piece you must understand before everything comes together. When they speak, your reaction will set the tone for what follows. Not with pressure, but with presence. If you meet vulnerability with openness, the connection accelerates. If you meet it with fear, it slows. So ask yourself gently, are you ready to receive what you've been sensing? Because the confession is closer than it appears. The energy is already moving. The words are already forming. And when they finally say what has been building in silence, you won't feel shock. You'll feel confirmation. As if your soul whispers, there it is. That's what I've known all along. But one final shift still needs to happen, and once it does, nothing between you will remain unspoken again. Before you decide this is just anticipation, feel this shift. Something has already aligned. You've sensed the build, up, the quiet courage, the invisible preparation. But here's the truth that completes the circle. The confession isn't just about revealing feelings. It's about initiating a new timeline. Yes, a timeline. Because once those words are spoken, the connection can no longer remain suspended in uncertainty. Energy crystallizes. Intentions solidify. What was once potential becomes direction. And direction changes destiny. Take a slow breath with me. Your soulmate has crossed an internal threshold. The doubts that once delayed them have been replaced with clarity. Not perfect certainty, but powerful enough, strong enough to speak. And here is the subtle revelation you may have missed. They've been watching you evolve. The way you carry yourself differently. The way you no longer chase what feels misaligned. The way your silence holds strength instead of fear. That transformation gave them permission to step forward. In the next few seconds, this will make sense. Confessions don't happen in stagnant energy. They happen when growth meets readiness. When two people independently rise, and then look across and realize they are standing on the same level. That is where you are now. But here's the final mystery. The big thing they are about to confess may not arrive in dramatic words. It may arrive in simplicity, a steady voice, a direct gaze, a sentence that sounds ordinary, yet carries extraordinary weight. I don't want to lose this. I see a future with you. I've been holding something back. Simple phrases. Life, changing impact. Because beneath those words is commitment, intention, emotional transparency. And once spoken, the dynamic shifts permanently. You will feel it. A release in the air. A grounding in your chest. A quiet knowing that something real has begun. Stay open in that moment. Not overwhelmed. Not guarded. Just present. Because your response will echo into the future you build together. And if this message resonates with your spirit, you know where to find the next one. Now listen carefully. There was a reason this confession couldn't happen sooner. Both of you needed refinement. Old patterns needed dissolving. Timing needed alignment. The universe is precise, not rushed. That divine pull you felt from the beginning? It was never anxiety. It was synchronization. Two paths converging. Two stories preparing to merge. And when the confession finally lands, whether tomorrow, next week, or in a perfectly unexpected moment, you will recognize it not as surprise, but as fulfillment. The waiting wasn't delay, it was design. So hold steady, stay aware, let intuition guide you instead of doubt. Something extraordinary is already in motion, and when the words are finally spoken, you will realize this was never just about love. It was about destiny choosing courage. And now, the moment is closer than ever. And just when you think the story has reached its peak, another layer reveals itself. Lean into this. Because the confession you've been waiting for is not the end of the journey, it is the ignition point. You felt the pull. You sensed the alignment. You witnessed the subtle transformation. But here is the final awakening. This divine connection was never meant to remain hidden in hesitation. It was designed to evolve into something visible, lived, embodied. When your soulmate finally speaks, it won't just clear the air, it will clear timelines. All the what-ifs that once floated between you will dissolve. The uncertainty that lingered in quiet spaces will lose its power. And in its place? Direction. There is something profoundly stabilizing about truth spoken at the right time. It anchors energy. It removes distortion. It allows both hearts to stand on solid ground instead of guessing. You'll feel taller in that moment. Calmer. Certain. Not because everything becomes magically perfect, but because authenticity replaces ambiguity. And here's the part that changes everything. The divine pull was mutual. While you were sensing them, they were sensing you. While you were questioning timing, they were wrestling with the same magnetic force. Two souls orbiting the same realization, drawing closer with every silent acknowledgement. Isn't that extraordinary? What once felt like longing was actually alignment forming. What once felt like waiting was actually preparation unfolding. And now the threshold stands before you. When the confession arrives, and it will, remember this, respond from presence, not from past memory. Don't let old stories speak louder than the new chapter opening in front of you. This connection has matured beyond fantasy. It carries intention. It carries growth. It carries a shared vision that stretches forward instead of looping backward. You were not pulled toward this moment by accident. You were guided. And guidance always leads somewhere meaningful. So as the energy between you intensifies, as conversations deepen, as glances linger just a second longer, trust it. Trust the unfolding. Trust the calm certainty rising within you. Because destiny rarely shouts. It whispers, then proves itself. And when your soulmate finally looks at you and releases what they've been holding inside, you won't feel confusion. You'll feel alignment. You'll feel recognition. You'll feel the quiet confirmation that this was written into your path long before you understood why. This is not the end of suspense. It is the beginning of shared momentum. The confession is coming. The door is opening. The future is responding. And you, steady, aware, ready, are exactly where you need to be. And now, Everything becomes clear in a way you didn't expect. Not with fireworks, not with noise, but with a steady, undeniable knowing. The confession you've been sensing is no longer forming, it's arriving. Can you feel the difference? Before, there was anticipation. Now, there is momentum. Your soulmate has crossed the invisible line between thinking and deciding. And once a heart truly decides, the universe rearranges quietly to support the action. This is where destiny stops circling and starts landing. You may notice the moment feels strangely natural, almost simple, as if the build-up dissolves into calm clarity. That's how aligned confessions happen. They don't explode into your life, they anchor into it. And when they speak, something inside you will go still, because their words will match what your intuition has been whispering all along. I can't ignore this anymore. I need to be honest with you. You matter to me more than I've said. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, true. In that instant, timelines merge. The version of you who once wondered, will this ever happen, meets the version of you who now says, I knew it would. And here's the deeper realization. This wasn't just about them finding courage. It was about you holding your frequency steady enough for truth to meet you. You didn't chase. You didn't force. You aligned. That is power. Because love that is forced creates pressure. Love that is aligned creates expansion. Feel the expansion now. The space between you shifts. Walls soften. The air feels lighter. What was once unspoken becomes foundation. And from that foundation, something real can finally grow. But listen closely. The confession is not the final reward. It is the invitation. An invitation to co-create, to build consciously, to move forward with intention instead of assumption. This is where many drift back into old patterns, reacting instead of responding, fearing instead of trusting. But you are not who you were before. You are aware. And awareness changes outcomes. So when the moment arrives, and it is closer than ever, meet it with steadiness, with warmth, with quiet confidence. Let your response reflect the growth you've stepped into. Because what begins after the confession will shape everything that follows. This connection holds potential not just for romance, but for evolution, for shared vision, for a future that feels expansive, not uncertain. You were drawn here for a reason, not to wait endlessly, not to doubt your intuition, but to witness alignment becoming reality. And now, as this chapter opens, remember, the divine pull was never meant to confuse you. It was guiding you toward a moment that would confirm what your soul already knew. The confession is not approaching, it's here. And from this point forward, nothing between you remains hidden again. And just when you think the journey settles, a deeper truth rises. Because after the confession, after the words finally bridge the silence, something even more powerful begins. Integration. Yes, this is the part no one talks about. The moment after truth is spoken. The quiet seconds where both of you realize, this is real now. Feel that. The air changes. Not dramatically, but definitively. The space between you no longer holds tension, it holds possibility. But here is the final awakening you must understand. The divine pull was never only about bringing you together. It was about elevating you both. When soulmates confess something big, it activates growth on another level. You begin to see each other not through fantasy, not through fear, but through clarity. And clarity is sacred. You may notice new conversations emerging. Conversations about the future, about shared values, about dreams that once felt too vulnerable to reveal. This is expansion. Because once truth is spoken, authenticity becomes the standard. There is no more guessing, no more decoding hidden meanings, no more wondering where you stand. You stand in alignment. And here's the surprising part. The divine pull doesn't disappear after the confession. It strengthens. But it feels different now. Less restless. More grounded. Before, it felt magnetic. Now, it feels anchored. That shift signals something profound. You are no longer moving toward each other. You are moving forward together. Pause with that image. Two paths, once separate, now aligned in direction. This is where destiny becomes decision. And decisions shape reality. You may look back one day and realize this was the turning point, not because of dramatic declarations, but because of the courage to speak and the courage to receive. Both were required. And you both showed up. Let that sink in. This wasn't luck. This wasn't coincidence. This was alignment meeting readiness. If this message has mirrored something stirring inside you, you already know what to do next. Because the journey doesn't end here. Love that begins with awareness evolves with intention. And intention requires presence, daily, steady, conscious presence. So as this new chapter unfolds, carry this knowing. The divine pull brought you to the edge. The confession brought you into truth. But your continued awareness will build the future. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into co-creation. And from this moment on, when you feel that gentle, guiding current within your heart, you won't question it. You'll recognize it. It's the same force that led you here. The same force that aligned two souls. The same force that whispered, long before the words were spoken, something extraordinary is about to unfold. And now, it has. And now, there is only one question left. What will you build from here? The confession has been spoken. The silence has transformed into clarity. The invisible thread that once tugged at your heart is no longer mysterious. It is visible, tangible, alive. But this is where the real magic begins. Because destiny may align two souls, yet it is consciousness that sustains them. Feel the shift once more. Before, you were waiting. Then, you were witnessing. Now, you are creating. This connection was never designed to stay in the realm of possibility. It was meant to step into reality, to become something you both actively shape. And here's the final revelation. The divine pull you felt at the very beginning was not just guiding you toward a confession. It was guiding you toward your next evolution. Love, when aligned, becomes a catalyst. It magnifies growth. It sharpens vision. It challenges comfort in the most beautiful way. You may notice yourself dreaming differently now, planning differently, even walking differently, as if a quiet confidence has settled into your steps. That's alignment embodied. But remember this, a soulmate confession is not a fairy tale ending. It is a conscious beginning. A doorway into shared responsibility, shared expansion, shared awakening. And the fact that you sensed it before it happened? That is your power. Your intuition was never exaggerating. Your heart was never foolish. Your awareness was ahead of the moment. Now the moment has caught up. Look at how everything connects. The pull, the preparation, the courage, the words, the shift. None of it was accidental. And here is the truth that completes the entire journey. When two souls are ready, the universe does not delay. It aligns. It opens. It confirms. You were not chasing love. You were aligning with it. And as you move forward together, hold on to this wisdom. Stay conscious. Stay communicative. Stay grounded in truth. Because that is what transformed anticipation into reality. The extraordinary thing you felt approaching? It wasn't just a confession. It was alignment choosing form. It was destiny becoming decision. It was love stepping out of silence and into the light. And now, as this chapter unfolds in ways even more beautiful than you imagined, remember. The divine pull will always guide you when something real is near. You trusted it once. Trust it again. Because this is only the beginning of what two awakened hearts can create together. And yet, something even deeper is unfolding now. Not outside of you, within you. Because after the confession, after the clarity, after the alignment settles into something real, there comes a quiet realization that changes everything. You are no longer the same person who was waiting. Feel that truth. The version of you who once questioned the signs, who replayed conversations, who wondered if the pull meant anything at all, that version has evolved. Now you stand in confirmation. And confirmation does something powerful. It silences doubt. But here's the unexpected twist. The divine pull was never only about drawing your soulmate closer. It was about awakening your discernment, teaching you to trust your inner knowing before the evidence appears. That was the real initiation. Because in life, this won't be the only moment where intuition whispers before reality responds. This connection trained you to listen. And now, as you move forward together, you'll notice something subtle but profound. Your communication feels different, more direct, more intentional, less filtered by fear. That's growth integrated. The confession opened the door, but your awareness keeps it open, and there will be new layers to uncover, new dreams to speak aloud, new vulnerabilities to share. That's not instability, that's expansion. Love that evolves never becomes stagnant. It deepens. You may find yourselves talking about things you once avoided, future visions, shared ambitions, even fears, but now spoken without tension. Because once truth has been honored, it becomes easier to honor again. Pause here. Look at how far this journey has carried you. From sensing, to trusting, to witnessing, to receiving, to building. This was never random. It was progressive alignment. And here is the final understanding that ties everything together. The divine pull wasn't a signal that something was missing. It was a signal that something was ready. Ready to be spoken. Ready to be chosen. Ready to be lived. And now, you are no longer waiting for the confession. You are living the consequence of courage. That is rare. That is powerful. So as this chapter continues to unfold, remember the feeling of that first subtle tug on your heart. The quiet intuition that said, something is about to happen. You listened. And because you listened, you didn't miss the turning point. From here on, let that same awareness guide every step you take together. Because alignment isn't a one-time event, it's a practice. And you've already proven you can feel it before it fully arrives. The extraordinary didn't just unfold around you. It awakened within you. And that is the real destiny you were being guided toward all along. And now, let everything grow quiet for a moment. Not because the story is ending, but because it is settling into truth. You felt the pull before the words existed. You sensed the shift before the courage formed. You knew, long before you had proof. That was never coincidence. It was alignment whispering ahead of time. And here is the final truth, the one that completes the entire journey. The confession was only the visible moment. The real miracle was the synchronization. Two people evolving separately. Two hearts refining themselves in silence. Two timelines adjusting, correcting, preparing. Until one day, they matched. That is what you experienced. Not luck. Not fantasy. Alignment meeting readiness at the exact point of convergence. And now that the words have been spoken, something even more sacred begins. Conscious love. This is where you both choose each other again and again. Not because of intensity. Not because of fear of loss. But because clarity feels better than confusion. And clarity is powerful. You may still feel that gentle current between you. That soft awareness that something larger is guiding your steps. But notice how it feels now, calmer, steadier, grounded. Before, it was a pull. Now, it is a foundation. That's the transformation. The divine pull did not arrive to keep you restless. It arrived to bring you into recognition, to teach you to trust your inner compass, to show you that when something real is approaching, your spirit knows before your mind understands. And that lesson will follow you far beyond this relationship. Because from now on, when you feel that quiet nudge inside your chest, you won't dismiss it. You'll honor it. You'll remember this moment, when intuition became reality. So step forward without hesitation. Build with awareness. Speak with honesty. Protect the clarity that brought you here. Because destiny may open the door, but it is your presence that keeps it open. The extraordinary thing you sensed at the very beginning? It wasn't just your soulmate preparing to confess something big. It was you preparing to receive something aligned. And now that alignment is no longer approaching. It is here. And this is only the first chapter of what awakened hearts can create when they finally choose courage over silence.